Right, so Winter Soldier has a release date, November 29th, and I'm in two minds, because new character is always going to hype up or spark up conversation in the Avengers community. It has to, there's no way that it doesn't, and we've been so starved for content and starved for anything this year that getting something is good. And also Cloning Lab is coming, and there is controversy behind Cloning Lab, and I'll get to that. And I'll get to why I don't like the decisions that CD are making around their character releases and around content releases, because content is one mission every 4 or 5 months, and that's not good enough. I mean, you can come at me and say, hey, I know, hey, you don't know how to develop a game. No, that's not an excuse. That's not an excuse. You signed up to make a games as a service, a live service game that gets consistent updates, and we don't have consistency, and we don't have constancy either, if that even is a word. We don't have consistency anyway. With like knowing what day of the month, having something guaranteed to come out every month. At least in 2021, the first half of it, leading up to War for Wakanda, we had something every month. And going back to that would be preferable, because we're waiting months for something, and then we play it, we're done in 10 minutes. And we're expected to play that 5 more times. We're expected to play that until the next thing comes around. Piss off. I don't know how long CD can last expecting the players to find enjoyment through tedium, and the definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over again, expecting a different result. And do you know what? This has pissed me right off. The Spider-Man iconic mission, at least he had dialogue throughout that wasn't just in these voice recordings. At least he had in these audio files. That was the thing with Jane Foster. All of the story of Jane Foster was in audio files, and that just, what is the point? If all of the story is going to be audio files, just don't bother. Just don't bother having a story at all. Just drop the character. But yeah, that was the big thing, and I think there was an upset with Spider-Man because there was so much hype behind it, and people thought that was the only one that was going to be like that, because there's no justifiable reason for other characters to get the bare minimum. Spider-Man got the bare minimum because of the rights issue, and a rights issue that shouldn't even be a rights issue, because he's being allowed to be in Midnight Suns. So that really didn't actually make sense. Supposedly in Midnight Suns there was no real drama about getting Spider-Man on every console, and him not being an exclusive. So Spider-Man being an exclusive in Avengers just kind of strikes as those conversations weren't really had, or there was a reluctancy to have those conversations about hey, can we have Spider-Man on every console? Or maybe it was or maybe Sony saw that people were annoyed or outraged about Spider-Man being a PlayStation exclusive for Avengers, so they decided Midnight Suns to just let everyone have Spider-Man. I don't doubt that being the case, but these iconic missions aren't fun. They're not rewarding, and they don't. By the end of an iconic mission, you've played the same missions so many times that you're so fatigued. And that's the biggest thing with Avengers, is the fatigue. And that comes on to the Cloning Labs thing. You have to be 175. You have to go in with a power level 175 character. That's fine, because most players are expected to have a 175 character. You know, the raid's been out for long enough now, but the issue with that is that you're putting in content with the only piece of content, of playable new content that's coming with Winter Soldier, is a mission that Winter Soldier cannot do for weeks, or in some cases months, before he's going to be 175 for him to be able to run it. And that's, I think, the most annoying thing. And I think the most annoying thing about the OLT being level capped is that it is an OLT, not a raid. It's got this barrier to entry, and then you're going to do it, and it's going to be the same kind of quality and the same kind of, they're saying go in with the expectations of the Family Matters OLT, the previous OLT with the Super Adaptoid. They're saying go in with those expectations, and the thing for me is, why are you making us do so much work to play a mission that clearly isn't going to be as fulfilling as the raid, which was the last thing that you had a barrier to entry on. And that annoys me a little bit. I think, especially since it's coming out with a new character. If Cloning Labs is coming out on its own, like a few weeks after Winter Soldier, when you've had time to build him up a little bit, then that would be fine. I mean, more people would probably be outraged with that because it's more time that we don't have content. But I think I would personally prefer Cloning Labs to have come out sometime after Winter Soldier, like not too long, but a couple of weeks after Winter Soldier, so we can get our hands on Winter Soldier, build him up a bit, and then when Cloning Labs does come around, people can start running him in Cloning Labs or Cloning Lab. But it just doesn't sound right saying it without the S on the end, And here's the thing with 2 years late. 2 years late, you should expect it to be plural. You should expect it to be plural. Like being outraged over people putting an S at the end. Brian, people putting an S on the end because that sounds nicer to say. Cloning Lab doesn't sound as nice as Cloning Labs. And Cloning Labs, gives the impression that it's going to be a longer mission because you're going through multiple labs. You know, saying it's Cloning Lab is essentially saying don't expect much. It's essentially saying don't expect much. It's one lab. You know, it's bare minimum. Again, we have to see what the mission's like, but there's a lot of like, I have personally a lot of, you know, just disdain for heroic missions, and the idea that that's going to be what characters are going to be brought with, because that means like, what are you prioritizing in your live service game? Because so far the only live service part of it has been costumes that you can monetize. Content, because you can't monetize a character drop, you know, you've put the bare minimum into it. You can't monetize content, so you're just not making as much. You can't monetize an operation, so you stop making them. You can't monetize an expansion. You can't monetize an expansion. Stop making them. That's annoying, and that's anger-inducing, because those were the best parts of the game, especially the expansion. The amount of hype that was around the expansion, the amount of, you know, there was a big live stream promoting War for Wakanda that, you know, was quite popular, and, you know, the tease of Black Panther was at E3, and, you know, the amount of marketing potential that an expansion, that an operation, that anything can have. You know, you can have ads running in front of YouTube videos. You can have, you know, collaborations with YouTubers, you know, playing through content. You know, even like tie-ins with the MCU with content. Like there's the video of Jacksepticeye playing Deadpool with Ryan Reynolds, and Jacksepticeye playing Uncharted with Tom Holland. Why didn't I see anyone doing a playing Avengers with Natalie Portman when Jane Foster was released? Why was that? Surely that could have crossed somebody's mind, like maybe someone in the Avengers community being asked, hey, do you want to play Avengers with Natalie Portman? Anyone would jump at the chance to do that. And how much, you know, promotion you would get from someone from the MCU playing your game with that, because, you know, the highest tide raises all ships, that kind of thing. So, and you would have casual MCU fans that don't really, you know, do all this gaming malarkey. They'll see Natalie Portman playing this game and they'll be like, hey, that looks kind of fun. It's on Game Pass. It's on, you know, the PlayStation equivalent of Game Pass. It's on Steam. You know, I'm gonna download it. I'm gonna get it. You know, and it's just the business decisions, the actual game decisions for this. It's like CD just has put to the back the game portion of this game, and that's annoying to me. The whole argument about Cloning Lab. Yes, people have had time to get to 175 with any character. Yes, the fact that we can't do it with the character that's getting released with the content, that's a slap in the face. Everyone should agree with that's a slap in the face. Like, you're giving us Winter Soldier. We want some shiny new content that we can play our shiny new toys in. We want a part of the playground that's new that we can play with our new toys in. We don't have that. That's frustrating. But we can. There are a lot of players that can do that day one. There are a lot of players that can't. New players coming in because of that new content, and they'll see, get to 175. What am I going to be doing? Oh, I'm going to be playing the same stuff that made me leave. The same stuff that made me leave is going to be what I'm going to be playing to play this new thing. It's going to take me half an hour. It's so annoying. The amount of time that it would take you to beat Cloning Lab wouldn't matter if there was other content coming along with it, right? If matchmaking was better, if there was if there was like a bigger community, and the fact that the community is small. The community is small because CD has done shit all marketing about this, about the game in general, since like Hawkeye or since War for Wakanda. There's been shit all marketing because there's been nothing to market, and that's the biggest thing. We've had a whole year of nothing, and now that there's finally something at the end of it, it's something at the end of it that the people that left, that would be who you want to come back, they'll be coming back and seeing that they can't play it, and they'll be like, can I grind anything new? Is there anything new that I can grind? No, I'm gone then. No, Winter Soldier's cool, but there's only but if I'm playing as Winter Soldier and stuff that I've already done, what's the point? What is the point? I was always more interested in the new characters than the endgame stuff, because for me it's all about the story. But if you're tying story to the end game, I feel like that's where you've lost it, because the end game stuff in other games like this, like in Destiny, like in other live service games, the raids and the strikes and stuff has always been over there, and CD has decided that the raid stuff and the OLT stuff is going to be important to the main story, and that's where you're getting your main story from. Like, Cloning Lab is the end of AIM, right? And it's going to be something that not everyone can play at that point. And, matchmaking is a thing that sucks. It sucks so much that a year on from the raid coming out, I have yet to actually complete the raid, because every time I'm matchmade with someone, they leave, the game breaks, the game crashes at the final boss. There's someone in there that's being incredibly like vitriolic and rude. There's someone in there that literally puts like the noise of a baby crying throughout the entire raid, and the raid is 3 hours long. So imagine listening to 3 hours of a baby crying. And it's easier when you have friends that play the game. But like I said, the vast majority of this year has been no content. So the most likely thing is that your friends that were playing the game at the start of the year aren't playing the game now. And that's annoying. That's the thing. And you can't really say, hey, do you want to come back to play an OLT? It's like, first off, what is that? Secondly, getting 175. I don't have any 175 characters. What are we grinding? Oh, the same stuff that made you leave. I don't think there's an argument for you've had enough time to grind. Because, yes, if you're a content creator, you're going to do the grind because you want to make content on the content, you know. But there's also the argument of the grind is what made me leave. And I'm not coming back to do the grind that made me leave. You know, it's always the game. This game isn't for you. You should find something else. Or why weren't you playing it? If you were playing it, then you would be at this point. It's like, just pick a fucking side, because this whole thing, the 175 power cap, and the Winter Soldier not coming with any playable content that he can do day one. It's so dumb. It's so stupid. And the fact that there are people that are, you know, there are people that outwardly praise the fact that I feel so sorry for Scott Porter, who's voicing Winter Soldier, because he's probably insanely talented. He'd probably do a really good job, but it's such a slap in the face to Scott Porter's voice acting ability to be like, oh, we're just gonna have you in, we're gonna have you in elevator chats, we're gonna have you in voice notes. Do I get to do a cutscene? Do I get to do a cutscene where I get to have an emotional conversation with Cap? Do I get to have like cutscenes with Kamala? No, that's elevator chat. I feel so sorry for him because he's been so underutilized. I feel so sorry for the voice actress doing Jane Foster. I feel so sorry for the voice actor doing Spider-Man, especially because he's got, A, they're not using him to his full potential, and B, he's constantly being compared to Yuri Lowenthal, and that's not a fair comparison. It's like comparing Dan Castellaneta as the genie to Robin Williams. It's like comparing anyone going forward doing the voice of Batman to Kevin Conroy, you know, and rest in peace, Kevin Conroy. What a legend! I can't believe he's gone. But yeah, I will never be in favor of these iconic missions. If they continue, I'm just deleting the game. I'm gonna see what Winter Soldier's like. If he's fun, I will tell you that he's fun. If he's meta, I'll do the tier list. But at the end of the day, I don't know how much more I can actually take. Not just of the game, but of the community and everything that I read on Twitter. And it's so frustrating to have people arguing with other people about a fucking game. A game about superheroes. Like, can't we all just get along? Or can't we all just get along? Yes, the game isn't exactly what we want it to be. And yes, there are problems. And yes, there are continuing to be problems. But don't ostracize people because they don't want to play the game. And don't ostracize people because they do want to play the game. I want to play the game. I want to enjoy the game. But it's being made so difficult to enjoy this game. So difficult. Anyways, I will see you guys in the next one. Hopefully you enjoyed this video. Sorry that it's more ranty and ravey than usual, but I feel like every time there's a trickle of news and stuff about Avengers, I always get ranty. Unless if it is, you know, expansion with 4 new characters, you know, I think that's the only thing that can, or expansion with a new character, new biome, new boss fights, because that's the thing as well. People can say MODOK's a new villain. MODOK's a new boss fight. He's not. We fought him at the end of the story. It's boring now. Monica's boring. You know, if this truly is the end of AIM, you know, stop having repeat boss fights. If you have repeat boss fights, have them be in the same operation, and don't be like, hey, we're gonna have 5 fights against Red Skull and they're gonna be spaced out between 2 years. Piss off. Knowing this game though, that's not gonna be Red Skull, that's gonna be the Grim Reaper. Because he's about at the same level as the fucking Scientist Supreme. We have fought the Scientist Supreme, a character that me, someone who has all of these comics in the background, didn't even know existed before this game. I thought she was a new character. No, she's just that obscure. It is the same as making Steppenwolf the main villain of the first Justice League movie. So stupid. But yeah, it's just I find it every day. I find it harder to find something to latch onto with this game. The content, if the content comes out and it's good, I will completely change my tune. I won't completely change my tune. I still think it's stupid to bring out a raid with a new character and have that new or bring out an OLT with a new character and have that new character not be able to run it because there is a level cap, and having no new content that the new character can run on the day that he comes out. You know, that I think that's a stupid business decision. I think it's a stupid game decision. But anyways, let me know in the comments below what you think. I will see you guys in the next video. If you like this one, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, hit that notification bell. I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.